Welcome to kathysright.com, your pit stop for the conservative mind, heart, and soul. Let's retool and refuel and fight the good fight for the American way. We're having a conversation here in America. That conversation has grown into a monster. It used to be that we could talk to one another with one another. But now it seems as if we're talking politics, we butt heads. We've all become a little bit tribal because in the beginning of, I would say, Trump's election, the first time, I remember I was really for Ted Cruz. I still like Ted Cruz. In fact, I had the Ted Cruz sign in my yard, and something happened to me on my way into the voting booth, and it was a booth back then, kind of, and I changed my mind. At the last minute, I changed my mind. I thought that Donald Trump would be the best thing for this country. I wanted conservative Supreme Court justices. I wanted things like the Ninth Circuit Court to be more balanced rather than being a long arm of the United States Congress and the Democratic Party. So when I changed my mind, it was a revelation for me. And my husband, who used to vote Democrat, we never discussed politics, even though it's my passion. We never discussed it because we knew that we disagreed. But he was coming around. It was years, but he was coming around slowly but surely. And now he's a fervent conservative and a fervent Republican. So when we went in that day, we drove into the voting place, and we went into our prospective booths and we voted. And when we got back in his Chevy Silverado, I asked him, which I normally don't because I usually assume he's going to vote, the idiot way, the Democrat way. But no, to my surprise, he said he voted for Trump. And I said, I did too. I was aghast. I was so happy. For the first time since we have been married, we agreed on something important, something life-changing, something country-changing, something Republican Party changing. And it was awesome. And I wonder if there are a lot of people like me out there. I guarantee you there are people out there like us. Because back then I thought, Trump was a little rough around the edges. I wasn't accustomed to his brashness, and that was kind of holding me back. But what he was saying were things that were important to me, particularly about abortion. There's no room for being wishy-washy in my mind and heart when it comes to that issue of abortion. And Trump was very firm on that issue. And he promised to put conservative Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court, and he has kept his promise. He's kept a whole bunch of promises. Some of them he couldn't keep because of, the impeachment, and it's amazing how much he got done, even under, all the attacks he was getting from the left, the impeachment and forever, conspiracy theories and Russia. I mean, it was really like a nightmare that they put our country through. You remember Russia. The reason people say that, if you don't know, is because of the Brady Bunch. Jan, the middle daughter, she was jealous of the older daughter, and the older daughter was named Marsha. And one of the takeaways that people remember forever was Marsha. And that's why people say Russia, because we come from that era. So that was one of my favorite shows growing up. So back to Trump. God bless him. He's fulfilled a lot of his promises. You cannot deny that. But as much as people get up on their soapboxes like Biden is doing, and even Obama's doing it too, and lying and saying that Trump has done nothing. He has worked his butt off for this country day in and day out. they said he did nothing about the coronavirus. He was the first one to do something, and they all criticized him for it. He did everything. He was on the television every single day with the doctors, with the scientists, telling us the updates, what was going on, what they were working for. But these Democrats act as though he's supposed to be some mad scientist in a lab coming up with the formula to cure corona on his own. And then they say he should consult the scientists. Well, who do you think he had on that television every single day? He's got scientists. He's the president. So it's absurd, the lies that they think they can get away with. Unfortunately, there are people in this country who are still ignorant, unfortunately. And there's nothing you can do about ignorant and stupid. I mean, ignorant you can fix, you can learn. But stupid, you just can't fix. Stupid. So there's that. So last night on the Tucker show, he had Bobolinsky. Yes, Bobolinsky. He had some receipts. He was telling it all. And the Bidens are in it up to their elbows. Or shall I say knees, because they were in on it. And he has ample proof, ample evidence. And when you turn to the mainstream media, what do they tell us? Well, there's no evidence. Well, there's more evidence of the corruption of the Biden family, the Biden crime family, than there ever was about Russia when it came to Donald Trump. And they spent millions trying to impeach our president with nothing. And they came up with nothing. Zero, zip, data. But now we have all of these emails and proof and witnesses and verification. And I'm kind of worried that the FBI has had a lot of this for a year, which is probably why Hunter Biden has been in hiding. You know, kind of like hiding with Biden. You know, that is one of the funniest gimmicks. They have a group called Riding with Biden. It's on Facebook, and it's funny as all get. I wonder if it's real people or is it a computer, because these are people who are Biden supporters, which, you know, they're a few and far between as far as I can tell from his rallies. But the people who are riding with Biden are now hiding with Biden, and both Bidens are hiding right now. But Hunter Biden, I have to wonder. I have a theory. You can call it a conspiracy, whatever. I don't care. But I have a theory. I think that all was not hunky-dory in the Biden family. I have a feeling. Now, either Hunter Biden was just so high when he left that laptop at the computer shop that he forgot about it. Or subliminally, or maybe intentionally, he wanted it to be found. Perhaps. Maybe it was a cry for help. Maybe he's not really crazy about the big guy, as they put it, the big guy in the emails. So, you know, the big guy got his cut, and Hunter Biden was the one in charge of dispersing it. The drug dealer, not dealer, sorry, I misspoke. The drug user. Now, all families have been touched by some sort of drug abuse. At least most people that I know. Not intimate families, but a lot of families have. It is not unusual with the opiate crises that this country has been facing. So I'm not judging the guy for that. It's all the other perverted stuff that he did over in China, supposedly, allegedly. So that is disgusting to me. Underage people and sexual intercourse of some kind. I didn't see the pictures. I refused to look. But apparently it's there. And so that is despicable. And to put our country up for sale like that, and then put that man as the nominee for the Democratic Party, and these people are all pretending it's all okay and it's not a big deal and this is not a big story. This is bigger than Watergate. Watergate, my gosh, Watergate? They did spy on the Trump campaign using your tax dollars. Yes, they spied. Okay, Hillary did pay for the dossier herself, probably from that corrupt Clinton Foundation, which I don't know why that's not been audited. But yeah, That was all real. Why aren't they in jail? Why isn't Hillary in jail? She committed several crimes. So it's not just being unethical at this point. These are crimes, Americans. So we should hold them accountable. If somebody's head doesn't roll quick, I think there will be an uprising from the right. And I think that we are going to be so fed up with only seeing Republicans go to jail and the Democrats get off scot-free for everything. I feel sorry for Hunter for his predicament and his addiction issues, but there is no excuse for selling out your country. And especially Joe Biden selling out the country because he got his cut. Oh, there's no records, they say, bank records. Do you honestly think? No, they can't expect us to think that Joe Biden would be so naive as to put it in his regular bank account here in America so that it could be exposed to the IRS and whatnot. No. He's probably got them in the Cayman Islands, or it might be, maybe they have a bank on Pedophile Island. Who knows? But it's offshore somewhere. We know that. So thank you, Babalinsky, for speaking out, especially on Tucker. You were very candid and believable. And I don't believe a thing any Biden says after this point whatsoever, particularly Jill. Now here's my other theory. They're trying to pass off a very feeble, demented man as a candidate for president. And everybody's on board, all the Democrats, all the tribes on board, including the media as usual, as can be expected at this point. So this is how I see it. If by any stretch of the imagination the worst case scenario happens and Joe actually pulls this off, it wouldn't be Joe pulling it off, it'd be all of his handlers. But if he actually pulled this off, how would it look? Here's how it would look. 2 weeks into his presidency, I'm not calling it into the universe, his presidency, 2 weeks into it, all of a sudden, Joe has a massive setback. I don't know, maybe he'll get COVID, or maybe all of a sudden they'll admit he's got the dementia. And then Jill will come out and make an announcement, and she's going to say something to this effect. Well, we didn't see it coming, but Joe has had a mental setback, and he is no longer capable to serve as your president. I give you Kamala Harris. You do understand, of course, that this was all in the works. It's all been planned out ahead of time. When Nancy brought out her cardboard or whatever, her poster with the Section 4 of the 25th Amendment, and she read it to everyone, it was in anticipation of just such a day as my theory. Section 4 is the only part of the amendment that has never been used. It is set up as such. If other officials around the president see that he is incapable of doing his job for whatever reason, they can determine that the president is not, I want to say, capable, but something is wrong. Something is wrong with the president. He cannot fulfill his duties as the president. Initially, when Nancy did her presentation with her poster board, I thought she was trying to think of a sneaky way to get rid of Donald Trump. But now I'm thinking that she's thinking of a sneaky way to pave the way for Kamala Harris, who nobody voted for in the primaries. So she would be a nightmare. So this is what it reads. Whenever the president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. Thereafter, when the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose, if not in session. If the Congress, within 21 days after receipt of that latter written declaration, or if Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of both houses that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall continue to discharge the same as acting President. Otherwise, the President shall resume the powers and duties of his office. This plot couldn't possibly be more clear. You have Joe Biden. Everybody else sees the dementia, but we're all supposed to pretend it's not there. Not us Republicans, but you Democrats are going with that. And then you slip in the most radical left senator that this country has ever seen, Kamala Harris, whatever her name is, Kamala Harris, who will push forward this Green New Deal, push forward all these progressive, insane ideas to the detriment of the American way of life. Let's just be honest, progressive is code for sin. The detriment of the American family, the detriment of anything normal and good and wholesome in this country will be gone. Because AOC, Ilhan Omar, and all of those crazies will be running this country. This is why this election is, in fact, the most important election we have ever seen, my patriot friends. But please, please, call upon your faith. Call upon your faith. I call upon my Jesus. He's my Jesus. I know I have to share him with everybody, but he's really mine. But I call upon my Jesus. We need to remember our joy that we get from Christ. We need to remember the peace that we can get from Christ. We need to remember all the things that are holding us together. And so these people will not get us down, no matter how much they plot. They plot with Satan. They use the same tactics as Satan. Look it up in the Bible. Everything that Satan does in the Bible, the Democratic Party is doing to America right now. We've got terrorists running in the streets, tearing down stuff, statues, burning stuff, dismembering statues, decapitating statues. Does that sound American to you? It sounds like something in a third world country. That does not sound like the America that I love. But they are outnumbered greatly, and they are outgunned. That's for damn sure. So we have a reason for the joy that is within us. We will not let the Democrats get us down no matter what. Got that, patriotic Americans? You got that? We have work to do. We have to fight the good fight, and we better start fighting it now. I say this because I truly love you, and I love this country. God bless the USA. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Kathy of kathysright.com. Bye.